Hey there, it's Bryan, and thank you for joining me for another installment of There You Go with me. Today I'm in beautiful downtown Park Ridge, and as you can see right behind me, that's the 1928 version of what they call the Pickwick Movie Theater. It's a great place to see a film, and I'm here to see this new flick called Maverick, starring Tom Cruise. But for me, it's always going to be Val Kilmer as the star. I like the Iceman, but I like Val Kilmer for all of his other roles too, whether it be in Willow or Batman Forever, or my personal favorite, Tombstone, where he does the definitive version of Doc Holliday. I'm your Huckleberry, right? If you haven't seen Tombstone, run out and get it right away. Watch it. It's my favorite Western. But I'm a big fan of Val Kilmer, even more so now that I saw the documentary on Amazon Prime entitled Val. It tracks his life from being a child all the way through being at Juilliard and becoming one of the most respected actors in Hollywood and making some incredible films through the years. But the focal point of the film is his battle against throat cancer, which is so interesting and so noble that he allows himself to be incredibly vulnerable and intimate in showing people what it's like to battle through such a horrific disease. I know my grandfather, Otto Jordan, had throat cancer, and it's pretty brutal. But, you know, Val shows that, you know, you can fight through that, come out the other end, and still hang on to who you really are and keep producing beautiful art. So anyway, I'm going to go inside, check out the new Tom Cruise, Val Kilmer Top Gun movie, and in the meantime, you're going to learn a little something about one Mr. Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer was born December 31st, 1959, in Los Angeles, California. His father was a real estate developer and an aerospace equipment distributor. Kilmer grew up in a very well-to-do family in Los Angeles alongside his older brother Mark and his younger brother Wesley. Kilmer landed his first role at the age of only 12, pitching hamburgers for a fast food commercial. Although it's reported that he walked off the set because he couldn't get into his character's motivation. At the age of 17, Kilmer became the youngest person at that time to be accepted into the Juilliard School of Drama in New York. But just one day before Kilmer's enrollment at the prestigious school, the young actor learned that his brother Wesley, an aspiring director, suffered an epileptic fit and drowned in the family's hot tub. It took Val several years to find his footing after this devastating loss. After leaving college, Kilmer performed in a series of plays and movies, where he was mostly a supporting character, but eventually, in 1986, he was cast alongside Tom Cruise in Top Gun, playing a fighter pilot by the name of Iceman. Now, this is the film that made Val Kilmer a household name. For the rest of his life, Kilmer said, "I will be called Iceman by every pilot at every airport I ever go to." In the decade that followed, Kilmer flew through a series of major blockbuster movies, playing Jim Morrison in The Doors, playing Batman in Batman Forever, and The Saint. Just to name a few, my personal favorite is playing Doc Holliday in a wonderful Western known as Tombstone. Now, while simultaneously making headlines for his high-profile movies, Val Kilmer had a lot of high-profile relationships. For instance, he dated singer Cher and model Cindy Crawford, Daryl Hannah, Angelina Jolie, and in 1988 he married actress Joanne Whalley. The two went through a very rough divorce in 1996, and they wound up sharing custody of their two children, daughter Mercedes and son Jack. Now, this 90-minute documentary flipped between behind-the-scenes footage by Kilmer himself and recent interviews with the actor. One of the focal points of the film was the fact that Kilmer now speaks through a voice box after a throat cancer diagnosis. He was actually staying in Cher's guest house back in 2014 when he realized that something was wrong. Suddenly I awoke, vomiting blood that covered the bed like a scene from The Godfather, he wrote in his autobiography, I'm Your Huckleberry. After being diagnosed with throat cancer, Kilmer kept it a secret. He later shared that he had undergone chemotherapy and radiation. He also had 2 tracheotomies and now uses a feeding tube to get nutrition. He said, being a Christian Scientist, he had tried for 2 years to cure his cancer through prayer, meditation, and love. But after seeing that his family was so concerned for his well-being, he acquiesced and tried some more Western medicine cures. He says that he believes that the radiation and the chemotherapy damaged his voice, not the cancer. As Kilmer speaks using a voice box now, producers knew that getting Kilmer to return to Top Gun would entail extra work. Within the scene in the new film, Kilmer's voice was recreated using archival recordings and modern technology. They were able to use recordings throughout the actor's career to create an artificial mock-up. Speaking about the effort the production team went to, Kilmer said, I'm grateful to the entire team at Sonitech, who masterfully restored my voice in a way I've never imagined possible. Now, even though I've covered a lot of information in this video about Val Kilmer and his struggle for life after being diagnosed with throat cancer, I'm not going to tell you everything. I highly recommend that you go to Amazon Prime, watch the documentary called Val. It's a wonderful film. It will not only make you have an appreciation for your life, but I think it'll give you an appreciation for Val Kilmer, the person, not just the actor. He's a very special individual, a very creative person, and what he's done here with this film is going to stand the test of time, helping people who battle cancer. What does the future hold for Val Kilmer? It's hard to say. What new medical developments will they come up with to help people who have had to battle their way through something as devastating as throat cancer? Only time will tell. But one thing I do know, I believe that he has the soul of an artist, and whether he can talk or not, I know Val Kilmer is going to continue to create, because I think that's who he is. So anyway, this is Bryan. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to There You Go with Bryan. And until next time, have a beautiful day.
Something old, something new, something for me, something for you. It's a big, big world. Let's check it out.